Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
Thank you so much. Have a seat. Have a seat. You know what? At this time of year, the audiences are packed and we have our VIPs. When I say VIP, you're all VIPs, but people who have been with us since season 1, and I see a ton of you in the audience. So thank you for being here. I see you, Denise. We'd like to welcome back to the show writer and scholar Riley Yesno, who is here. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm so excited every time.
Every time. Well, we're going to dive into it. We're going to get Wicked with you because the movie Wicked, it is a smash hit. It's dominating the box office. It's also picked up several Golden Globe nominations. And yet, when you go online, the chatter, not just about the film, but it actually is about how thin the two lead actors appear to be. It's everywhere. A writer for the Globe and Mail points out that some say it's in poor taste to speculate on someone's health, and others are arguing diet culture should be called out. So, here we go. Is it ever appropriate to be discussing a celebrity's weight on a national talk show? Let's take it away. Take it away.
So none of you have ever done this around going out for coffee with friends or around the dinner table. You talk about, oh, well, aren't you nice? I think it's totally appropriate to talk about that in private with your friends in a closed space. It's human nature. I think I'd be doing us a disservice by saying that no one has ever done this. No one has ever been like, oh my God, she looked, you know. To do it in public, to be clear, no. Not to do it online, no. And for me, it comes down to decorum. I think it's just incredibly rude. It's so rude, like to go up to someone, you wouldn't go up to someone and say, oh, you look tired, you look sick. You wouldn't, just don't do it, just don't do it.
What do you think, Riley?
Yeah, I mean, I agree that first, doing it in public is one thing, but then also the media has been doing it a lot, and they have always been doing it a lot, specifically to women, not just women, but predominantly women, always, we note, and that they pretend, oftentimes they couch it in this thing of being concerned. Fans are concerned for Ariana Grande, you know, all these things. Like, you make money off of every click on that headline, every share that gets done. Don't pretend that there isn't something very monetarily exploitative in this for you. But on the other end of things, like, I do remember it was really important. My mom sat me down when I was very young and was like, your makeup will never look like that. Your body won't look like that, and all these things, just to say, like, that's celebrity culture, you know, like that they have professionals, they have plastic surgeons, they have personal trainers. And so having a conversation about bodies and about beauty standards, I think, is important. But why does it have to be using one person as sort of like the scapegoat or the model, as if they're not, like, you know, truly a human being having this experience, right?
Yeah.
So I agree for the most part.
Interesting. Oh, well, I'm gonna disappoint everybody because I'm guilty. I talk about celebrities, whether they gain weight or lose weight. I talk about it. I think I'd be a hypocrite to sit here on this show and say that I don't discuss it. But I've learned it's what I'm saying. It's how I approach the topic, because we've seen plenty of times where there are actors who've lost a lot of weight, like Matthew McConaughey, Jared Leto, 50 Cent, for a role. And I just always assume, you know, maybe they're doing it for something, maybe they're pregnant. I know it's not pleasant for the person who's being talked about, but I think most times we're not doing it to be mean.
No.
But I do remember, this story reminded me of Chadwick Boseman. Do you guys remember when he started doing all of those appearances and he was noticeably thinner? And I just assumed that it was for a role, like most actors, because he was a very busy actor at the time. But then when I looked at the comment section of any photo that he was in at the time, they were just really mean. And there was one comedian, her name is Jess Allen. She's now on The Breakfast Club in New York. And she was relentless. She was going after him, and she was assuming, her opinion was, that he was on drugs. And she was going after him time and time again. And then, of course, we know in August of 2020, he lost his battle with colon cancer. And she did a face and she was like, I'm so sorry, I didn't know, and I will never do this again. And I'm not bringing her up to vilify her. I'm bringing her up because it's like, we do it, but you have to be mindful that your opinion is not fact and you don't know what you don't know. We don't know. Ariana Grande is a very petite woman, and we don't know what kind of stress she's under. And most people who are petite know when you go under stress, what happens? You lose even more weight. So I think we should be mindful. You can be like, you can notice it. We're not gonna act like we don't see. It's like, I can see she's smaller. Yeah. But what you say and how you approach the topic needs to be handled carefully because you never want to be, adding to the stress of someone's life.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. They are humans, after all. Yeah. I want to go to the movie specifically because we took our daughter to see it last week, and it was something that I know inside of my head. I couldn't get it out of my head, actually, the whole movie. And it wasn't just Ariana. It was also Cynthia Erivo. And so I thought to myself, this is wild, and how do I approach this with my daughter? And so I realized that the private and public conversations, even now when I have private conversations, I got to be really careful because somebody else is listening.
Right.
She's listening. She's 10 years old now, and this is the age, right? It is all coming at her like a tsunami. And so I have to be so mindful. So when we talked about the movie, I was very cautious when I was driving, and you all parents know a lot of conversations go down in the car. And I don't know why that is, because you're all looking somewhere and you don't have to stare at each other. But I had a very mindful conversation with my husband, and I basically said, they're both very petite women, they're tiny, petite women. And also, to your point, Andrea, we don't know what we don't know, because weight is one of many factors that determine health, and we don't know what's behind it. What is their stress level? What's going on in their life? Is it a health issue? Is it not? Even if it is deliberate. And so what I had to kind of say to my husband, even though my husband is very clear in the house when he says, I like a girl with curves. And he says that all the time. And he's not saying it for lip service. No. Like, I have a good badonkadonk. And he's like, don't ever lose that. And he says that in front of her all the time. Don't you ever lose that, right? Put that discussion aside. But to understand that it is about something so much more than just weight is one little thing. We don't know what discussions they're having with their doctors. We don't know the pressures. They are leading culture, but they are also under the same pressures that all of us women are under, right? Mm-hmm. And so for that, we should be very, very gracious into what we say in public, which is why I'm saying nothing else.
Well, let's be gracious together and change the subject. I don't think we should be talking about this anymore.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Timothée Chalamet. He appeared on ESPN's college football pregame show recently, and many people criticized the decision. But it was Chalamet who had the last laugh when he shocked everyone with his game day knowledge. Take a look.
So these teams are 2-2 in the last 4 matchups. The Redhawks defense looks good, but I'm looking at fourth-year Bobcats quarterback Parker Navarro. Yeah. 65% completion rate. If he can get going, he'll tilt this in favor of the Bobcats. I'm going underdog Bobcats here. Yes. Underdog Bobcats.
So never judge a book by its cover, right? Change your perception of Chalamet. What do you guys make of this?
Who's going first?
You.
Okay, I'll go first. I didn't know who was going first. I watched this live, and I was like everybody else, just kind of shocked. And I was like, "Oh, Timothée, we had no idea that you could do this." And then I paused and I go, "Wait a second. Why am I surprised that this very young man who can handle a movie like Dune, right? Who can do the stage, who's done a lot of great, roles."
Because he comes in wearing a pretty fuchsia coat and a little mustache. I'm sorry, and he's sitting up there with guys in suits. You don't expect it.
But here's the deal. This is a problem with what we do to people. We see them do one thing, and then we assume that's the only thing they can do. And a lot of managers and people who are in charge of hiring make this mistake all the time. It's like, oh, you do this, so I can never see you in any other role. And I have to remind myself, it's like, let's stop putting him in a box. Why can't he do that? He's in front of the camera doing much more challenging things. He's a young man who's a sports fan. Ooh, surprise, surprise. Right? Why are we so shocked that he has a favorite in the pool? Like, I don't understand that, right? And I have to check myself.
Yes, I'm like, he is a white straight man that grew up in America. He knows about football. Like, it's not surprising.
You guys are being so mean to the white man.
I will say, though, even though I did not watch that live, but I just realized, or did he just pull the fastest one on us ever? He's an amazing actor, and he was reading a little. Was he potentially acting like a sports anchor?
We do the same thing.
Maybe.
We have notes. Timothée, we have notes. We all do the same thing.
What I'm going to say is this. My husband, who is a huge football fan, that is not his actor, right? It's not like he goes, ooh, Timothy's in a film. I'm going to go watch Timothy. Timothée, pardon. His name is Timothée. So, but what I will say is for Ryan, who is a football fan, watching Timothy do that would actually potentially widen Timothy's fan base, who would maybe, Ryan goes, oh, he likes football? Oh, maybe I'll go check him out doing X. And if you are a female football fan and you're not on Team Chalamet, maybe again, this might catch your attention and be like, oh, he's so versatile. Maybe I will go see X film, you know? So I do think it widens a fan base. And he was there because he's promoting a movie. So he did exactly what the job entailed. He understood the assignment, he completed the assignment. And lastly, I think generally with actors and people, I think this is naturally with people too, when I find out that they have a new talent or skill that I didn't think about, it just widens my respect for them. What's his name? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? You know him? Superhero? He's a horseman. Did you know? He's a horseman.
We know. Oh, we know he's a horseman, Melissa. We know.
Okay, but you know what I love? Celebrities that also have PhDs.
Yes!
And like, I'm not talking about honorary doctorates, which are impressive.
Yeah,
You're an
yeah,
expert
yeah,
in
yeah.
your field, but
They didn't
who
work
made
for
the
it.
cue cards,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Who had to read the boring things? Brian May, the lead guitarist of Queen, he has a PhD in astrophysics.
No way!
I love that. And when they bust out in a second language, like Sandra Bullock can speak perfect German, or
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper
Bradley
and Jodie
Cooper's
Foster with
French.
French, like, I'm just like, oh my God! I love it.
We love these surprises.
New York Times Magazine is suggesting that Robert Pattinson is the last true movie star. All right, he got the security of working on a franchise with a big director, prestige from starring in indie films, and the power to say no to television, they say. So what do you think makes a true movie star today?
Controversial take. I don't think it's Robert Pattinson. I mean, no disrespect to him, and I'm sure he's a fine actor. I just only seen one of his films, and so he's forever Edward Cullen to me from Twilight. So I think that that's one of the things that makes him not a movie star to the caliber of other people, because I know him for one role, and he can't break out of it in my head. That might
That's
just be me.
interesting.
Might
That's
just be me.
interesting.
I think they have to have consistency, some depth, longevity. So to me, a movie star today is a Viola Davis, a Denzel Washington, Al Pacino, Meryl Streep, James Dench, Helen Mirren. You notice something? They're not 20. That's number one. And number two, their roles often transcend the film. So Meryl Streep can be in anything, and she gets nominated because she's Meryl Streep, for example.
Yeah. Well,
What do
you
you
said
think, Jess?
they're all older, and that's what my brain goes to too. I think of someone like Paul Newman, you know, is a movie star, and I don't want my movie stars to be on social media. I think that's what makes a big movie star. You don't see your Daniel Day-Lewis on social media. You don't
Posting
see
pictures of his
Robert
cat.
Pattinson doesn't.
Sorry.
Doesn't have it. But then I got to thinking, like, maybe they weren't on social media because they didn't have social media.
Yeah.
And maybe Paul Newman would be on social media. He could push his salad dressing out there.
He probably would. He
But
probably
Robert
would.
Redford, his colleague in so many different films, you know, he again is a big movie star, and he's not on social
Yeah.
media. It's that I don't want to see you on social
Okay, but here's the
media.
deal. I think Robert Pattinson, I don't know about this title they're giving him, but I'd say he's the last generation of actors who can choose not to be on social media. Because right now, it's not about how talented you are, or how good looking you are, or how much time you've done in theater. It is about what's your following. Every casting director now, before they cast a movie, because they're afraid to lose money. So they're thinking, what's the sure bet? So the bigger your social media following, the more likely it is that you're gonna end up in that big blockbuster movie. So there's less opportunities for Robert before he was like in that other movie, in those series. I never watched them. I don't know the name of them. To get that opportunity, Twilight. Sorry, thank you. There's less opportunity for those people because if you don't have the numbers, they're not going to take a chance on you. So I'd say he's the last of that generation who can not have a following, choose not to be on social media, and still have that big career.
What do you think, Riley?
That's interesting.
Fair. I think very
interesting point.
I also, though, I think, notice the men that they have on the list. First of all, that they are all men. And I think that this is important because, like, women, I feel like, get very few chances to rebrand in the way, or to be boring in the way that men do. For example, like, somebody that's around the same age that does that I would consider like a movie star would be like Jennifer Lawrence, right? You know, she was a character actor, did Hunger Games, and then she went on to win Oscars,
That's a great point,
did all these things. But people thought she was annoying. And they will like never let her forget that. And now she's come back. She took all this hiatus for,
she made
numbers of
babies,
years.
got married.
Yeah, came back. And like, I think maybe she could be an exception in this rule. But I think that generally we focus on women in Hollywood a lot more and scrutinize what they wear and what they do and all of these things. Men are allowed to be boring. I just think that they are. And so the aloofness that I do think adds to it, that everything that they do with the media feels very deliberate, that they don't have to have social media. I think that definitely adds to the movie star je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
But like that, I think you are more likely to find it with the men. And that's why you'll see DiCaprio and Keanu Reeves on this list and Brad Pitt and all of these guys that it's just like they show up wearing a suit and they're done. You know?
I hope Judi Dench isn't on there or my heart will be broken. Moving on. Okay, Robert Pattinson's gotten enough airtime. I want to know, would you ever tell a stranger that they looked great today? I like that. A writer for the New York Times says there's something distinctly post-pandemic about the pleasure of complimenting someone in person. So do you hesitate to give strangers compliments?
No, it's part of my DNA as a Black woman. And I'm gonna shout out my American Black sisters who really the ones who taught me this, where it doesn't matter where we are, you could be at a funeral, you could be walking down the street, you could be at your job, you could be in the middle of a newscast and be like, girl, pink jacket, I see you, girl. To know your name, but whatever looks good is like, I see that blowout, girl. I see you for real. And that's what we do to each other. So it's just, I don't even think about it. I just do it. I'll walk out here and be like, ooh, green, I see you. So to me, it's like, this is what you do, and it just lightens. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. Just say nice things, say hi, you look great. So we do that all the time. We do that all the time.
There's a woman I see on this subway regularly. She's the best dressed woman I've ever seen in this city. And I always hesitate to do it. But I don't know. I can't do it like you just did it.
Well, you don't do it like I do, but you just be like, you look beautiful. I just want to tell you that.
No touching, though. Right?
You can touch her a little bit.
I can touch her a little bit.
Wait. What color? Is she black or she white?
She's a Black woman.
Just don't touch her hair, but you can touch her.
Okay.
You touch her and go, girl.
Don't say it I can say it like I would.
Ma'am?
Girl, you look really beautiful.
There you go. Take the base out of the ma'am and be like, you look, And then
no
you
base, tired trouble.
But you make a great point. So A, Jess, you have homework, so you're gonna let us know how that goes. But B, doesn't the person giving the compliment matter? Like if I'm on the subway and a creepy looking man walks up to me and starts to give me a compliment, I'm looking at it differently than if you did.
Yeah.
I'm really gonna say that.
Okay.
So I think who says it is part of it, how they say it. And then I saw this guy on TikTok who's actually a comedian, and I realized we should do this more, even if it feels like it's against you. And he's a British man, and he's like, we don't do this well as Brits. So take a look at how he does it.
I love your lavender blue colour scheme. Goes with the blueberries as well. Clearly a man with an eye for detail. You have a very confident stride.
Sorry?
Very confident stride. Loved it. I adored the way you laughed at that pigeon. Compliments are simple, but not easy. Trust me. You have a marvellous weight distribution between your feet, sir. Good, easy shift. Especially for us Brits.
Weight distribution.
Oh my God. I feel like you would say anything in that accent, though, and I'd be like, it's like the Queen complimented me. And but I think, I have a theory. So I actually got this theory from Derek, your lovely audience coordinator.
Oh.
Yes. One time when I came in, he told me something that has stuck with me, which is that he said, Riley, I think you have nice people face. NPF for short, famously. And he was like, it means that like if you were like one of the tellers at a bank and I was in line, I would hope I would get you because like you would make me feel, isn't that lovely, first of all? Yes.
Nice people face.
I think that's also the thing that I look for when I go up to other people to compliment them, that I'm like, I have a sense that you'll take it well, you know?
Yeah.
And also if I'm giving away nice people face, and I'm like, and I do walk away the street like, you know, like, so hopefully that part of it is that like I do think maybe I receive more compliments than my my partner, for example, who is stunning but like comes off very intimidating. They've been told a lot, and I'm like, you need to work on that nice people face. That'll up the economy for you.
That's beautiful.
You gotta hit her. You gotta hit her up with the black girl. Like, girl, I see you. Works every time. Works every time.
It is the most wonderful time of the year, my friends, because 'tis the season for dips. Say it with me, everyone. Yeah! So last night on Kaftans in the kitchen, I made not one, I made 2 dips. Take a look.
1 brick of cream cheese, 1 can of tomato soup. There we go. Let the festivities begin. We're just gonna leave that be and see what happens to it. It looks like the first hairball that our cat, Thomas,
Yes.
threw up. Half a cup of sour cream.
People are very concerned because Miracle Whip is not male.
Did we just disaster this?
Okay, now ladies, one of these dips is a holiday staple from my family, and the other dip is a holiday staple from a very popular YouTuber's family. So your job is to pick which one comes from my family holiday table and which one comes from the YouTube. Guys,
Okay, all right, let's go with something like this.
We need to, we
Can
need
you
to
pass them down?
Oh, yeah. You know what? It's quite soft.
Yeah, oh, look how soft that is, Andrea. Get the cheese on top.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We're very good.
This is a shrimp dip. And this is an artichoke
we
creamy
swap?
dip.
Can we
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay.
Just slide that down.
Okay. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, and this is spinach, you said? Spinach.
This is artichoke.
Oh, artichoke.
Okay.
I'm gonna just guess.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm gonna guess that the shrimp is your family's and that this one is the YouTubers.
Oh.
Any other guesses?
This is the YouTuber's one. The one with the crackers, this one, and that one's your family stuff.
Okay.
I think I'm with Andrea.
I know why you guys are saying that, because you like this one more. And guess what's my Aunt Sandy's shrimp dip? You got it. It's got to be served with these crackers. We make it every year. It does look like a hairball from a cat. The color of it.
It doesn't matter.
But I
It's
tell you,
delicious.
isn't it good?
That one is like hot mayonnaise.
No. That could be my fault. That also could be
the
my
shape of this dish, this one was more retro.
Yes.
In the dish that you chose, and then this, I was
I
like,
thought
oh,
it came out of a package from a store. That's when I saw that. I go,
Wow, I really did. Yeah, this one has retro ingredients. That's the one with a can of tomato soup.
really good.
It's got cream cheese, canned shrimp, and then celery, gelatin. You put it in a mold. As you can see, the mold didn't quite work for me. And yeah, so it's
still
really
delicious.
good. Thank you.
Quick question. Which one was cheaper to make?
I actually think this one was cheaper because canned shrimp can be expensive. Hot tip during the holidays, look for sales because it can go from $7.99, $8.99 a can. I found it as cheap as $2.99, people.
Wow.
If you just shop around, and it always comes on sale during the holidays.
do we
shop
necessarily
around.
want the cheapest asking? Is that what we want to do?
It's the same
Fair
brand,
question.
though. The same brand of
Good-
$8.99.
good
Yeah,
job.
I am so pleased you like
You
the
did a
shrimp
great
dips.
job. Great job both ways. Great job. Well done, Jess. Well done.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.